Hey, good afternoon, everybody. We're right at the noon hour. We're like a minute before noon. We got, hey, we're about to cross the street here. So we got January the 6th, 2026. There's the Wrigley Building, Chicago, Illinois. How you doing? Hey, it's a balmy 46, mid-40s. That's the winter here, January, beginning of January in Chicago. We'll take it. So, yeah, it's a little kind of misty. I don't know if it's the warm weather that's doing this or just the moisture in the air. We did get some rain overnight. It wasn't too bad. Let me turn on the comments here. Chris, how you doing there? Della, how you doing there? Happy New Year, Della, and Chris and everybody else. Della, I hope you had a good New Year with Diane and your family and everybody else. Debbie and yeah, we got back from Texas. Dad and I got back on Saturday, so we drove back in 2 days. And thanks for, I know you and Diane tuned in when I was in River Oaks. I appreciate that. Yeah, I went down to Galveston, and it was a good time to see palm trees. It was 80 degrees. I think it's 80 degrees in Houston this week. I know you're probably having warm weather where you're at, and we got it here too. So happy New Year, Della, Krista, Grandma's Corner. How you doing? Thanks for tuning in. Chris, the Scanner Guys fan, how you doing? So what I'm gonna do for, this is my lunch break here for where I went to the office today. There's more people in the office today. People are coming back from their vacations, and I'm gonna head to the South Loop. I'm gonna head to the South Loop of Chicago, south of the Loop here, not too far because I'm still walking from the office here, but there's some new development, new construction. We passed some new construction on Wells Street in River North this morning on my way to work, and it reminded me there's a building, I think it's a residential building under construction, South Wabash. So it looks like the CTA workers are working on the track. I wonder if that has something to do with the State and Lake. The State and Lake station is being renovated, so they shut it down. The State and Lake station will be closed for the next 3 years. We talked about it. There's the green line. There's the green line around the bend. How you doing there? Bengals fan, Happy New Year. Cadiz, Kentucky. Hey, thanks for tuning in from Kentucky there. Jason Taylor. Yeah. How's everybody doing here? There's the Harold Washington College. There's the Jewelers Building. And there's the Trump Tower there, second tallest building in Chicago. But we're going to head down Wabash. We'll go by Elephant Castle. So there's talk of the Sports Illustrated hotel going in where that used to be the Virgin Hotel, so it's a branding change. I don't know if they got it rebranded yet or not. Here's the Elephant Castle. Look at the wide sidewalks of Wabash. Hey, Bengals fan. Yeah, it looks like New York. A lot of people ask if this is New York. There's a Chicago alley. Look at that. They built over the alley. Here, we'll see the train. The good thing about going down Wabash is it's this beautiful skyscraper canyon. To me, it is. I know I like cities more than most people do. Here's Benton, Wabash. I knew this car was going to start moving as soon as I crossed the street. I want to get the train going by. It's going by really slow. There's the conductor. It's a short pink line here. Here's the pink line around in the bend here at Wabash. Try to get these scenes of the city. But we're in the Loop of Chicago, 46 degrees, 12:02 on the PM. Thanks for tuning in. We're gonna head down to the South Loop. We'll go down Wabash. For some reason, when I get by, in past times, when I get by Wabash and Van Buren, I lose my connection. I don't know if it's the same in between cell towers that we get when we go by the Art Institute. There's like dead zones, at least for me. And so bear with me if I lose my connection as we head to the South Loop. I'll walk out of it. We always do. I'll get a bunch of messages. Can't see here yet. I'm deleting your account because you lost your connection. I understand. So I'm just warning people. Here's Randolph Street. There's the theater district. The Nederlander Theater there. But hey, Marshall Field and Company. Yeah, they were taking down the holiday displays on State Street. Here's these facades they saved when they built the Heritage, whatever they call that. But here we'll go by Macy's. Pete, how you doing there? Yeah, nice trolley. The elevated CTA trains. That's what we call them there. Yeah, Grandma's Corner, Wes, XRT fan. Hey, how you doing there? Pete, Sandra. Beach, please. Jag Deep. Yum Empire. Yeah, you don't need one in Illinois. That's the great thing about Illinois. It's legal. We're on YouTube. Isn't it amazing that marijuana is legal in Illinois, but on TikTok, I can't say the word marijuana, but I can on YouTube. Huh. There's the orange line. There's the orange line going to Midway. There's the Pittsfield building. That's the guy from TikTok bought that, and he's going to turn it into housing. There's already housing in some of it. Then we get across the street here. We got 4 seconds. Here comes the green line. This is where we at here. This is Washington Street, Washington and Wabash. Here's the Washington Wabash stop on the station on the Loop of Chicago here. Jewelers Row. That's generally where we're at here. Yeah, good afternoon, Sandra, Wes. Yeah, how you doing there? Hey, we got some Packers fans. Yeah, of course, I'm rooting for the Bears here. Bears and Packers play on Saturday, 7 o'clock. The arch rivals there, Green Bay Packers against the Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears have home field advantage. Secured the number 2 seed, even though they lost on Sunday. Hey, at least we're in the playoffs here. It should be a good game. I'm looking forward to it. And it'll be colder probably for a game, but that's okay. We're not going to think about it yet. Hey, you can go to the El Estaca here, get some tacos. Yeah. Hey, Grandma's Corner. Thanks for the time there. Yeah, we got 12:05 in the PM. We're in Chicago. And we got January the 6th, 2025. How you doing there? Naya Papaya, how you doing? Thanks for tuning in here. So, hey, we'll zig and zag. We'll cross over one side. We'll cross back to the other. Here, the Jewelers Row. Jewelers Row, Wabash. There's underneath the elevated tracks. There's the Washington Wabash Station. See Chicago's landmark Diamond Center. New York Jewelers. There's the Trump building. Here's the Link stations, the buses. Get you over to Union and Ogilvie. Commuters rail stations. Here's Jewelers Center. Jewelers Row. Paisano's Pizza. Millennium Park's that way. We're on Wabash. Wabash. I think we just crossed Madison, I think. Madison and Monroe, one of those two. Hey, not in service. Not in service train. Looks like a short pink line, but it's not in service. Stopping here. Yeah, there's crazy freaky alleys. Look at these crazy freaky alleys you get in Chicago. Sometimes we check them out. Hey, your future city there, Zach. Or Zach, yeah, thanks for tuning in there. Hopefully I'm saying your name right. Yeah, come in the summertime when it'll be warmer. It's pretty warm today. By January standards, we got about 45 degrees. Hey, got us in the Baker. Look at that, JP Atwater. Look at the name in the building there, JP Atwater. Wabash has such great buildings on it. If you like old storefronts with the fire escapes. Yeah. Croatia, how you doing? Thanks for tuning in there. Aisha's tuning in. City Walking, how you doing there? Is that Jay City Walking Girl? I'm not for sure. If it is, even if it's not, watch Jay City Walking Girl. She's on TikTok, YouTube. And Happy New Year, everybody. How you doing here? Here's Wabash and Monroe. Yeah, so this is Monroe. This is the back of the Palmer House Hilton. Sometimes we go inside the Palmer House Hilton. I always lose my connection. Here we'll cross over here. Yeah, I should have crossed. I'll cross with this one here. I'm getting Miller's Pub and all this stuff. Here's the train going by. Yeah, we'll get the Palmer House entrance and Miller's Pub, Wabash Street, Loop of Chicago. We're heading to the South Loop. Hello. Bowling Green, Kentucky. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, you got that nice Corvette museum. I remember seeing when the sinkhole opened underneath and all those Corvettes fell through that. There's a lot of caves around there. You're near Mammoth Cave. Here's Green Line to Cottage Grove, Wabash, Miller's Pub. Hey, Sugar Bliss, get some sugar. Palmer House. Yeah, this is the Wabash entrance to the Palmer House. UPS. Hey, Miller's Pub. Tom and Jerry are a holiday tradition. Go get a Tom and Jerry there at Miller's Pub. World famous ribs, fine food. It has a Mad Men vibe. We've gone inside it before here. Here's Miller's Pub. I used to go there for lunch all the time. Now I walk during lunch. See Tom and Jerry there. Get your Tom and Jerry drink. Get your hot toddy there. 40 years ago, used to work here at Wabash between Washington. Yeah, we just passed that thing, so you should recognize the old Adams of Wabash. So this is probably the last, since they're shutting down State and Lake. This is the last historic, non-ADA accessible train in the Loop of Chicago here. So hopefully they'll keep this in some form, so they'll at least have one showing what the old historic station is right in front of. There's the Art Institute of Chicago. This is Route 66. See if anybody's coming here. Oh, we'll go. Here, Route 66. This is the historic Route 66. It starts at Michigan and Adams. See, you can't even see the sign. See, people put stickers all over it, Route 66. The begin sign's over there, and it goes all the way to Ogden Avenue. You make a left, and then you used to be able to take it all the way to California, but now it's been replaced by the interstate highways, and it's not, the whole way is not maintained. That's cool. You're on Route 66, Sandra. There you go. See, we're all connected. Hey, St. Patty's Day there. That's good. Hey, Della. Miller's Pub. Oh, yeah, it's a great place to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. Miller's Pub there, yeah. Here's the Exchequer restaurant. They got the Central Camera Store. I always want to point out the Central Camera Store. We'll go under the station here one last time. You know the train's coming. Every time I cross, the train comes here. Let's get the train heading in here, and then we'll get the Central Camera. There's the Brown Line. There's the Brown Line heading to the loop. No snow. We got no. It's 46 degrees. It's 46 degrees. We're supposed to get rain, and it's not typical for us to get rain in January. Usually, when I moved to Chicago in 1999, we'd always get snow, and it would last for a month or two, or you know what people were used to, the old Christmas story time. There's Central Camera since 1899. We show this. The old used to be able to get your Kodak film developed here. They got this beautiful neon sign, Central Camera. We got reruns on this. Clumsy Cow. If you go around the corner, it's the Pickwick Place. You go down the alley, they got the coffee. That's well covered. We all know about that. Here's the DePaul University. But yeah, no snow. We got rain in the forecast. And so every time I bring up global warming, people go nuts. But we're having a really warm January. I know we had a bunch of snow and it was cold, but it's 80 degrees in Houston. It was 80 degrees over Christmas. Of course, it dropped down a few times. It's up and down weather just like here. I'm sure we're going to get a cold blast later in January or February. And if it snows again, I'll be the first to, along with all the Chicago live streamers, we'll cover it. But hey, thanks for tuning in. We're on Wabash here. We're heading to the South Loop. I want to check on some new development here. We got new construction, 12:13 in the PM, and 46 degrees Fahrenheit. What is that? 10 degrees Celsius above zero. That's amazing. Here's it's probably an orange line. Yeah, it's an orange line coming from Midway. We're heading towards the sun here. We'll head to the South Loop. 48 where Sanders at. Yeah, it got sunshine. It's kind of a high, thin, you know, the sun's burning through some high, thin clouds, I think. But yeah, it feels, there's shadows on the ground, so hey, we'll take it. Need to get some vitamin D. Slovenia, how you doing there? Yeah, Sweet Home Chicago, Granville's Corner. So we'll probably go by the Harold Washington Library on the way back. It's over there on State Street. We'll head over to Printers Row. Let me get across Van Buren here. This is Van Buren. This is the south part of the loop. So the south end of the loop goes down Van Buren east and west. Heads over to Wells. Look at this, new tags, new graffiti there on the building, but there's some murals over here. We'll see if this is a orange line. We'll get to see the orange line head over past this here Wabash. This is usually where I lose my connection, so if I lose my connection, stick with it here. There's the orange line. Yeah, one less day of snow. It all depends on how you look at it. I had somebody respond to, I think it was Fonzie responded to one of my, I posted that rerun of the squirrels in the snow. And I was like, I know Chicago doesn't have the best weather, but, you know, and he goes, I enjoy all 4 seasons. He goes, I wouldn't want to live in a place that didn't have winter, you know, and I know a lot of people, you live in a place where you really don't have winter, and that's by, like my sister, she hates the winter. So different strokes for different folks. The winter doesn't bother me as it seems to bother so many other Americans. Here's the green line. Here's the green line. Heading past this is the Auditorium building, Louis Sullivan, Roosevelt University. See Roosevelt University, the Goodman Center. We'll head by some DePaul stuff. And they still have concerts in the Auditorium Theater there. That's housing. They built that last 10 years or so, 15 years they built that. Yeah, we'll cross the street here. We'll show you see these are load-bearing walls. This is one of the tallest buildings in Chicago that's not steel frame construction. It's load-bearing walls, and they actually took the interior for the sidewalk when they widened. This used to be Congress, now it's Ida B. Wells. And this is looking up Wabash, where we just came from. We should get the walk here. Here we go. We'll cross. This is Ida B. Wells, used to be Congress. There's the Auditorium Theater entrance. This side of the building is sunk, settled 2 feet because the foundation's on a floating concrete raft. And when the developer, his name was Peck, he convinced the architects to add 2 more floors. So at the time this was built in 1892, this was the tallest building in Chicago. That was the tallest skyscraper. It was load-bearing walls right when they were developing steel frame construction. And we'll see some of the early steel frame construction buildings right over here on Dearborn, hopefully when we head back. Here's the Goodman Center. We're in Chicago. This is Wabash, 46 degrees, Columbia College. We'll see a lot of Columbia College. There's the new development. When I was here, that was only 5-6 stories out of the ground. Now let's count the stories here. This is the new residential development here on Wabash, South Loop of Chicago, south of Harrison. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. About 18 stories tall. Maybe they're going to go up to 20 with that in the back there. There's probably going to be a roof deck. I think they're about topping out. There's rain dripping from this garage. You see how they got the harmony? They got all the murals. Let's cross the street to show you this. This is south end of Wabash. See how the elevated train tracks jog over here, but they got these great murals. We've shown these many times. Jacob Watts. There's the female suffragettes, the women suffragettes. There's Ida B. Wells and all the other women instrumental in the suffragette movement, not only for women's rights, but the female vote. And yeah, what a nice mural here. Got the moose blowing the bubble, and then we got harmony. You see the train, but you can really see this. This is the new development. I came down here. Let's see. So there's plenty of grass in Grant Park. Don't gaslight me. We have huge parks in Chicago. Some of the largest. Lincoln Park's larger than Central Park. We walked through it this morning. Grant Park's over there. It's almost as large as Central Park. Chicago has several huge parks. Most of the lakefront is green common space. It's not all private space where it's billionaires own up the lakefront. It's common. It's shared by all. We have a lot of beautiful parks. Of course, in the wintertime, everything looks nasty. The city's the concrete jungle. I know. Concrete. There are a few trees, but there's not much greenery where I'm at here. So, you know, I'm sure the same would be of New York, Los Angeles. You know, we were just in Houston, a lot of cars in Houston, a lot of cars in Chicago. America is a very automobile-centric culture. I'm sure I don't own a car, so I'm not saying I'm better than anybody else. I really can't afford a car in this city. Here's the green line. Look at the green line coming around here. Look how nice that is. Yeah, look at that. It looks like see how it leans a little bit? There's a slight curve. They straightened out this curve. This curve used to be more sharp, and they kind of made it more slight. There's the green line heading across Harrison Street. No, is this Harrison? Yeah, it's Harrison Street at Wabash. Look at that. So here's, I think, the Blackstone Hotel and the Hilton. So let's cross the street. I want to see this building from the other side of the street here. Hold on a second. So here, Wabash. We'll head down towards Balboa here. Yeah, thanks for understanding there, Sandra. Appreciate it. You work in Pasadena. Pasadena is a beautiful city there. California, a suburb of LA there. Yeah, Pasadena. The Gold Line, I've taken that transit. That's where they had the Rose Bowl parade, Tournament of Roses. Yeah, Pasadena, California there. I watched some of that game at my brother-in-law's house with my sister there. I should say my sister's house. Here's the new development, new construction here, Clark Construction. That's the same company that's doing the Thompson Center renovations and DAC developments. It's called the Melrose. No, that's Melrose Anderson Capital. I guess they're the investors. This is new residential construction on the south, in the South Loop of Chicago. It just started last year, and now it's about topping out. It's 18 stories, 18 to 20 stories. I'm sure it's going to be luxury rental or condos or whatever. Maybe it's housing for Columbia University. I don't know. I need to look into it. Here's Buddy Guy's Legends. If you're looking for a nice blues venue, Buddy Guy's Legends. We saw Buddy Guy last year in the fall. He played at Navy Pier with his daughter, and that might be one of the last performances ever of Buddy Guy, because he's kind of phasing out his touring. Buddy Guy's Legend. He played with Muddy Waters when he was younger, and the Chess Records is down here. We got reruns of Chess Records. Here's the Merle Reskin Theater there at DePaul University. There's the Orange Line. So yeah, we'll head down one more block here so we can go over to Printers Row. We got 1222. There's the Merle Reskin Theater. I think DePaul University runs it now. They got the theater school, so if you're a thespian at DePaul University, I'm sure you heard of the... I'm speaking. That goes from Kamala Harris there. That was... Look at that. That's nice. So here's Buddy Guy's Legend. We'll cross the street here, and we'll show you Buddy Guy's Legends. This is the South Loop of Chicago, and we're at Balboa and Roosevelt. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, nobody's asking you to live here. Thanks for tuning in. This is not a promotion. I'm on my lunch break. This is a hard city to live in, I know. Multiple reasons. And that's why, thanks for just watching it virtually. No one's asking you to live here, move here. Just tune in and watch. I appreciate it. Here's Buddy Guy. Here's the Buddy Guy. Let's see. Blues People, Jeremiah Rogers, Jimmy Burns. Let's see if there's anybody we know here. Bobby Rush. Ain't done with the blues yet. Hood Poet. Ha! Yeah. Buddy Guy's Legend here, Balboa. Chicago, of course, has a great records. Here comes the elevated train, so we should get the elevated train. With the Sears Tower, let's Wabash here. This is the oldest part of the Green Line. There's the Sears Tower, or Balboa and Holden Court, which is this alley where the Green Line runs. Hey, the old South Loop Club. Remember we came down here for Thanksgiving. We saw the marching bands queuing up for the parade here. And we got some reruns of that. Here's the South Loop Club. I think there was some studios in here, like some recording studios. I don't know if it's still here. The South Loop Club, of course, is tragically closed. There used to be a restaurant here, but the sign remains. It's still a beautiful relic here. And look at that. Look at those terracotta pieces between the windows. We'll cross the street and get it here if we get the light here. Hey, the William Jones College Prep High School. This is a high school right in the South Loop, right in the heart of the city. This is a high school. A lot of people go to this school. And there's the South Loop Club in Chicago, Balboa, and State Street. So here we'll head up to, which way do we want to go? Let me see where I'm at here. I think I might want to head down one more street here. Hold on a second. Yeah, let's go down to Polk. Let's go down to Polk Street. We'll go down one block here. That's a nice mural there. Yeah, thanks RDF. ALK, thanks for tuning in there. Is John's commercial still down there? I don't know what John's commercial. What is John's commercial? Can you please help me out? Is there an address? Is it a restaurant? I don't know what John's commercial is. Here's the Art of Pizza, Jimmy John's, those bros. There's a nail salon. We're gonna go over by Fort Dearborn here. Yeah, I smell pizza. I smell the Art of Pizza right here, but it's closed. No, it's right here. Art of Pizza. Okay, good. Here, let's cross the street. So here, Dearborn Station. So the heart of the South Loop of Chicago is Dearborn Station, Printers Row. And it used to be a train station. The trains no longer terminate there, but they saved the head house with the clock tower, and we've gone in there. They reuse it for certain things. We always see people playing bridge in there and stuff. Hey, Wes. Yeah, Scott. Used to live in a condo behind Jones Prep. Hey, Naya Papaya, you lived in the South Loop here. Hey, this is your old turf here. Yeah, thanks for tuning in to your old neighborhood here at the South Loop of Chicago. Did you like living in the South Loop? You know, positive, negatives, everything, I'm sure. But, hey, Dearborn Station there. You ever hang out at Dearborn Station? And they got Roots Pizza still here. I'm old enough to remember there used to be a Boston Blackies here where you get the steak and stuff, but that's gone too. Nothing lasts. Here at Dearborn Station, Plymouth Court. Yeah, they got the fire escapes, the interesting fire escapes, but we'll head up Dearborn. We'll just go up Printers Row. Here at Dearborn Station, Chicago, Illinois, South Loop. Yeah, I'm on lunch break. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, I usually, when I'm working most of the time, if I have time, we'll do a lunch walk from my noon to 1 here. And it allows me to get out and see things like that new construction. I want to check it out for myself here. So here we'll cross the street. And God damn it, I got the walk. And they sped up. You trying to run me over? Appreciate it. I guess they were trying to. That's appreciated. So here, we'll head up to the Franklin building. And here, they got a bike path. And I'm going to try to get away from that car for here, Franklin building. So they got the nice mosaics on the front here. We've shown this many times. We walk down Printers Row often, especially in the summertime. Franklin's building, Franklin Company, of course, the Gutenberg first impression there. There's a quote. It's not to Ben Franklin, it's to somebody else. I looked it up actually, and I can't remember it, but hey, Sandmeyer's Bookstore. Look at this beautiful building, the Donahue building. This is Printers Row. Naya Papaya, did you live in this building? They converted all this to housing. See Sandmeyer's Bookstore. But look, Michelle Obama, look at that. Since 1982, Sam Myers Bookstore. They have the Lit Festival here, Literary Festival. Your old building's the other side of the street. So is it the Franklin building? Yeah, so what a nice, look at that. You got Dearborn Station. What a nice street to live on here in Naya Papaya. Hey, you ever go to this park here? They got a fountain, but they got it closed up for the wintertime here. Here's Casey's Tavern. And look at that. So yeah, you see how they reverse the typeface on this park here. There's a nice fountain there, but they got it covered up to protect it. And we'll head right up to back to the loop there. So it's 46 degrees. It's been really warm in Chicago for January. The snow melted several times. We had snow in November and it melted before Thanksgiving. Then we got some more snow at the beginning of December and it melted before Christmas. I was gone for 2 weeks in Texas where it was 80 degrees. It's 80 degrees in Texas right now. It's 46 degrees here in Chicago Tuesday, January the 6th, 2026. We got 12:30 on the dot in the PM lunchtime, Central Time Zone, North America. I think it's 60 degrees. Probably St. Louis and Louisville is probably 60 degrees. January. And people yell at me when I talk about global warming. You know, because there's global warming, we're still going to have cold patches. We're still going to have extreme temperatures like that bomb cyclone that hit Lake Erie. That was really strange. They actually labeled it a hurricane in the wintertime. I always joke that I never had to worry about a hurricane coming out of Lake Michigan. Well, I guess I'm wrong because it might happen in the wintertime and it'll be a bomb cyclone like what went through Lake Erie. It's very treacherous waves. It used to be an all-girls school. Hey, thanks for the good information there. Thanks for tuning in there. The Pope Building. The Pope Building. Okay, good. The other side of the street. Okay, good. So I missed it there. So we'll keep on going here. We'll head up. That's good. So here, we'll get across the street here really quickly. This is Harrison Street. There's bike paths. I'll get you over to the bus station while it still lasts. They might demolish that bus station to build housing. We'll see. But yeah, beautiful housing here on Dearborn Street, Printers Row, Harrison and Dearborn Street. This Potbelly. This is a nice building. It's got some interesting details on the bottom here. The Morton Building. National Register of Historic Places. Let's see if it's got a plaque here. Chicago flag. But here, everywhere you look, see Printers Row, the streets are really long and narrow because when they used to print all the books and stuff and ship them out on the railroads, look at that. Look, they got the sculptures holding up the window bays. The Sind Morton Building. There's a hotel there called the Sind. So there should be a really good view to the Sears Tower. We'll see the Harold Washington Library, Melly Cafe, Hotel Blake. That's your timeshare. Very lucky guy. Hey, very lucky guy, Hotel Blake. There you go. See, so you got a good location here. Very lucky guy, Hotel Blake. Yeah, right in the South Loop here. And thanks for tuning in. Very lucky guy. Appreciate it. Very lucky guys. Been with me for years. You and Tara and Bob go way back. Thank you. Here's Ida B. Wells and Anita. Anita goes way back too. And Chris. Here's the Harold Washington Library. Ida B. Wells. There's the Sears Tower. There it is. There's the Sears Tower. Look at that. So here, let's cross the street. You get to 311 North Michigan Board of Trade. And that's the federal courthouse, or the federal prison. The federal prison in Chicago, not the one in New York where Maduro is being held. That's a completely different place, but it's the same federal courthouse. And the reason that one's here in Chicago is there's a federal courthouse just 2 blocks north of it. But here, right here on Dearborn Street, just north of Ida B. Wells, is some of the collection of some of the most significant early skyscrapers in the world. These are some of the first steel frame construction buildings And they don't look that tall to us now, but at the time, these were some of the tallest buildings attempted by architects, and it was enabled by steel frame construction. This is a William LeBaron Jennings building. It's called the Manhattan Building. I think it's 1888 to 1892. And it's not as old as the Home Insurance Company, which is considered the first true steel frame construction skyscraper building. Unfortunately, we lost that building. It was on the corner where the LaSalle, or the Field building is, the LaSalle State Bank building, the Fields building. They're going to redevelop that for housing on LaSalle Street, but we're on Dearborn Street, the Manhattan Building. This is the Plymouth building. And then this building, the Old County, I think it's 1892. This is a very historic building, has all kinds of interesting idiosyncrasies in it. It has light wells in the elevator shafts. It has unisex bathrooms. They had unisex bathrooms in 1892. And the old County building, again, one of the first steel frame construction skyscrapers in Chicago, this whole block. And this is the Fisher's building. You see how narrow the columns between the windows are. That was, people thought this building was going to fall down because it was more glass than wall. They you know, steel frame construction allowed for this, made look like a lighter building. And that's residential. That used to be commercial, got converted to housing. Let's go through the Monadnock building. We'll walk through the bottom of the Monadnock building here, the arcade. Let me unzip my coat. I'm gonna get really cold. Let me take my hat off. But hey, this is the Monadnock building. So this side is steel frame construction, the south half. The north half is load-bearing walls. I'll show you how thick the walls are once we get up there. We're underneath Van Buren here. Here's the south end of the Loop of Chicago. That goes over to the Harold Washington Library. We'll head up this way. But hey, we'll walk through the bottom of the Monadnock building, Chicago, Illinois, 1235. We're at, see, let me show you this federal prison. Here's the barber shop. Let's see if I can cross here. Yeah, we'll cross here. Here comes the train. But here, see, this is a federal courthouse, or this is a federal prison. This is a federal prison in Chicago. It's you can see how close it is to the Sears Tower and everything. And here's the train pulling into the Harold Washington Library, Van Buren and Federal. Here we'll cross the street here, and we'll check out the Monadnock building. Thanks for tuning in, Chicago, Illinois. Yeah, see, Relentless Barbershop. So the Monadnock building, this is the load-bearing wall portion. Look at the door handles, all the fixtures. Very heavy doors. There's the train pulling. I was waiting for the train to pull out the station. See, look at the light fixtures. Barbershop, a real working barbershop. So this is from 1892, this was an early attempt at an arcade. Now they had arcades, like Cleveland has an arcade, New York has arcades, San Francisco has arcades, many cities have arcades, but this is through the middle of the building, and these storefronts, they have an outdoor entrance and they have an indoor off this hallway, which makes it nice in the wintertime. And here's shoes, Floridora. This is, if you just joined, we're in the Monadnock building. I might lose my connection. Sometimes we lose our connection, especially when we get into thick walls on the south end. I got reruns of this. Sometimes we lose our connection, sometimes we don't. But look at the floor. They got a protective cover over the floor, dashing shoes. They have a cobbler, they'll fix your shoes. They got a restaurant here. And yeah, here's the cobbler. Look, they're shining the shoes. They got all the machinery to redo the heels and redo your shoes, and look at that. And here's the jewelry. The jewelers here, AC Jewelers. How you doing? And again, these letter boxes. We're inside the Monadnock building, Chicago, Illinois. F&F. Here they got the stairs. How you doing? Beautiful building. I like this here. This is Zeglo Custom Clothiers. Yeah, they got all these shops. Look at the staircase. Look at the beautiful stairs and letterbox. And then at the end here, the north end, this is the load-bearing wall portion of the Monadnock. They got a haberdashery. They got a hat maker. And look, it's called Optimal Hat Makers. Look at this. Look at the vents for the heating for the doors. Look at the tile work. You just can't make buildings like this anymore. Optimo Hat Makers, 53. I think we're on Jackson, 53 West Jackson. This is the Monadnock building. See how thick the walls are? These are load-bearing walls on this side. So here, we'll show it to you here. We're at Jackson and Dearborn Street, Chicago, Illinois. There it is, the Monadnock building. We just walked through it. This is the load-bearing wall portion. See how thick the walls are at the bottom? And they taper in as they go up. North end of the building, the walls go straight up because it's steel frame construction. They could actually hang the curtain wall and the brick on the steel because it was strong enough to support that whole wall. Hey, thanks, Susie Q. Thanks for subbing there. Appreciate it. Zach Morris, Lambie T. Did I lose? The old letterboxes are nice. Hopefully I didn't lose my connection. Grandma's Corner, thanks for being on, Sheridan. Motion, good to see you there. Yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in here. Lambie T. I like a order a big number one. Yeah, New York has way more buildings. Yeah, that's than what you this and that. I almost fell down into the blue line. You go down to the Jackson. But here's the this is the Calder flamingo sculpture. This is the Federal Plaza. There's the Sears Tower. There's some of the older 1920 skyscrapers. This is from the 1890s. This is the Marquette building. This was Halliburton Roche. Again, an early steel frame construction skyscraper. The expression of the Chicago style of architecture. The big wide windows. Steel frame construction made that possible. Before that, windows had to be really narrow like these, and they got to widen them up, which Louis Sullivan really did that on the Carson Prairie Scott building, which is now the Gothic Target. But these are the federal courthouses, the Dirksen and Klaczynski buildings. These are federal courthouses. This is the Federal Plaza. There used to be an historic building that was destroyed in the Great Chicago Fire. They built a neoclassic one. They tore that down in the 60s to build this stuff. And there's a post office. We've gone through that post office. This is the Federal Plaza. A lot of demonstrations and things happen here. Media events. We saw J.B. Pritzker here, Ernesto and I. When the same day the president called for his arrest, he came out and said, "Arrest me," and nothing happened. So it was pretty dramatic. Arrest me, Daddy. I saw Adam who they won. He was standing next to Chance the Rapper at New Year's Eve in Chicago when they did the countdown. I saw that on TV because I was in Texas. But hey, here's the, I'll briefly go inside the Marquette building. It's a beautiful, I always lose my connection here, so be prepared. We're probably almost certainly going to lose my connection, but hopefully I'll get you a few images of the beautiful interior of the Marquette building here. They got mother of pearl mosaics. They got these beautiful busts of the Native American chiefs and the French voyageurs from the Marquette and Joliet expedition in the 1680s. The 1680s, that's not when this was built, but that's what this commemorates. And here we're in Chicago, the Marquette building. See the Marquette, they got this nice kiosk. But here it is, they got one single column and they got these beautiful mosaics, mother of pearl, the Michigan, and CAG. We always picture the French visiting the Native Americans. We never envisioned the Native Americans traveling to the court of Versailles to visit King Louis XV. And here the Marquette building, Chicago, Illinois. Thanks for tuning in here. So hey, let's go this way. Is that nice? Yeah, we got reruns of that. Yeah, lots of food options. We got, hey, Scotland's tuning in there. Thanks for tuning in. So here's the blue line subways underneath Dearborn, the red line subways underneath State. And right in the heart of the loop, we still have two of the CTA lines become subways when they approach the downtown here. But hey, Chicago, Illinois, what time we got? 12:43. I better get back to the office here. I got an hour for lunch, so I'll get back. But hey, thanks for joining us on our little excursion to the South Loop of Chicago. And we'll walk home tonight after 5 o'clock. Last night we checked out the lights on Michigan Avenue. I'm sure we'll do the same. Yeah, the lamppost. Yeah, look at these lampposts here on Dearborn Street. Here, let's see if we can get across the street here before the light changes. I'm always trying to get across the street. So they're still working on the Chase Bank Plaza. This is the Chase Bank building, heart of the Loop of Chicago. The Marc Chagall mosaics are here, but they're under construction, so we can't show them. So here, we'll cross the street here. Dearborn Street, Loop of Chicago. Let's head over to State Street. State Street, that great street. Here's the Inland Steel building. You see how there's not a column on the corner? That was very revolutionary when this was built in the 1960s. Skidmore, Owings and Merrill, the Inland Steel building. And thanks for tuning in here. Yeah, we'll see what it looks like when it's done. Yeah, see you, Gene. See you later. UK, how you doing there? Thanks everybody for tuning in, checking out the Loop of Chicago. CIBC Theater. The Majestic building. Look at that. Look at these terracotta. Look how much details on this building. They would never spend that much money to add all that ornamentation on the building. It's just over the top terracotta. I mean, look at that. The CIBC Theater. Here, there's an historic plaque here. Let's see what the historic plaque says on the let's catch this here. So, welcome to Chicago. The Majestic Building and Theater, Edmund R. Krause, 1906. Chicago's oldest legitimate theaters. Vaudeville, drama, and musical, long history. Renaissance, revival style. Stereophonic. Look at that lobby entrance ceiling. So hey, we'll head over to State Street. This is also an interesting building. Is this the Stager building? No, this is the North American building. The Stager building is on Wabash and Jackson. Have you ever heard of Stager pianos? But here, Halliburton Roche, terracotta, the North American building here. Doesn't say, hey, 1912. Okay, good. Australia, how you doing? Yeah, the detail. Yeah, isn't it amazing? That's what I say. You know, so many times I've driven by buildings and you don't notice it until you walk. And I've been walking through the Loop of Chicago for 27 years, and I still discover things that I've walked by thousands of times that I've missed because I'm not as observant as you think I am. But repetition helps out. You know, we you know, like this is the formerly the Carson Prairie Scott department store, built by Louis Sullivan. Now it's called the Sullivan Center. The bottom two floors are now the Gothic Target, and the reason they call it the Gothic Target is I'm gonna head across the street here. It's very risky being a live streamer in front of a Brinks truck. They think I'm trying to case the joint here. So at the Monroe stop on the State Street here, 33, I guess South State Street. This is the Sullivan Center. This is the Gothic Target. It used to be Carson Prairie Scott. I want to show you the detail. See how it's just a working target there. This is Louis Sullivan. Louis Sullivan was a mentor to Frank Lloyd Wright. They tried to get away from the Renaissance revival styles and develop their own truly uniquely American style, the Prairie style. But this is before the Prairie style. This is Louis Sullivan cast iron ornamentation. Look at that. If we get to the corner, we'll show you where he puts his initials in the cast iron protector of the windows, the entrance here. And so this is State and Madison. This was historically the busiest intersection in Chicago when the trolleys used to go down through the street. State and Madison, the 00 center point of all the addresses in Chicago. Look at the detail. Look at, again, the classic over-the-top ornamentation. There's Louis A. Sullivan. There's his initials right there. And he got them several times. Let's get across the street here so we can film it from across the street. We got 12:48 in the PM here. So there it is. There's the Gothic Target, the Louis Sullivan, Carson Prairie Scott Sullivan Center. I think they built it around 1903 or something. So let's see if they took down the holiday displays on Macy's. Oh, they got the sidewalk messed up. They always got something. I guess ice is falling off this building, so they make everybody walk out in the street here. So we'll see if we can somehow get around. And of course, there's cars double parked right where you need to walk. Maybe that'll make it easier. We can walk on the inside of these cars. But hey, welcome to Chicago, 46 degrees. I got my hat off, I got my gloves off, got my coat open. Any day above freezing is a good day in Chicago. I guess there's ice falling off. There's ice falling off of this building here. That's why they got this broken glass. It says broken glass. Okay, maybe a window fell out of the building. All kinds of weird things happen. But here's State and Washington. So here's Marshall Field and Company. Now it's Macy's. Yeah, we'll head under there. I need to get across the street. So here, I'm going to run across the street here before the light changes. Marshall Field and Company here. This is where they got the window displays for the holidays. Yeah, they still got a few up here. Here's some right here. That's the same ones we saw earlier for the holidays. They were taking some stuff down up there. There's the clocks. Famous clocks there. Former Marshall Fields. Now it's Macy's. Yeah, the clock. Yeah, look at these window displays. We'll film them before they take them down. It was animated. I guess they turned off the electricity. There's Block 37. There's a big mall there. You can catch the red and blue lines. Yeah, that's a nice clock there. I'm glad you saw it. There's another clock on the other side. Yeah, Norman Rockwell used this clock in one of the Saturday Evening Post paintings. And I see Macy's, Marshall Field. Avoid frozen pipes. There you go. Yeah, here's some of the window displays still left. Macy's on State Street, Lupus, Chicago. $50, $100. Sometimes it's sunny, just not now. Not in the wintertime. It's not that sunny, but it was sunny earlier. I believe earlier in this live, you can rewind. It was sunny. The clouds came over when we were walking. There is rain later in the week. Rain, not snow. And there's the Tiffany Dome. There's the elevated train heading across there. Hey, we'll go underneath the Chicago Theater. Brian Regan live. Saturday, January the 17th. They're working on State Street. They're working on the State and Lake Station. Hey, they got ornaments there. You get the bean. Yeah, Bigfoot Forest. Vancouver Island. Thanks for tuning in from Vancouver Island. I assume it's Bigfoot. What a beautiful area there. Victoria and Vancouver. I think Victoria's on the island. Vancouver's on the mainland there. It's good. Brian Regan live. They were in Chicago. People will be like, where are we at? So you see the Marina Towers, the Chicago Theater, Brian Regan live there. How you doing? They got a nice ghost sign there. We'll head right under the marquee. Chicago Theater, Chicago, Illinois. Rap and Rap was the architects there. 1921. Chicago Theater. Norway, how you doing there? Over Mellingen, how you doing? George Harris. So right here, here's the Torture Museum, the Medieval Torture Museum, $31.99. Check it out. So the State and Lake Stations officially closed. We'll show you how the stairs, the Chick-fil-A's back open. So the Chick-fil-A opened just in time for the State and Lake Station to close, but the Chick-fil-A's back open. I don't know what they did to it, but I guess they remodeled it or something. But see, they got you can't enter the station anymore. This is the State and Lake Station, Chicago, Illinois. On the loop of Chicago, so it's under construction. Hey, Gaz Coleman, hi, thanks for tuning in. G-A-Z Coleman, thanks for tuning in. Yeah. Somebody's yelling. Somebody's yelling. Yeah, we're living through 4 years of torture. It's going to be a long 3 years. I know what you mean. Well, you know, I've already started the countdown to the midterm elections, November of 26, which at least hopefully the House Oversight Committees will switch to the Democrats, and that'll make it more interesting. The Congress will actually be a check, unlike now where Congress might as well not even show up. I never thought I would have respect for Marjorie Taylor Greene, but I do, because she left at an amazing time to be a foil to Trump. And she's more about releasing the Epstein files, which I say, you go, girl, more power to her. She's relentless about releasing the Epstein files, so I commend her. That's Marjorie Taylor Greene. So here we'll cross Wabash. See, we went down Wabash all the way to Balboa. Now we're up by the, speak of the devil, Trump Tower. There he is. And here we'll cross the street here. We'll see if they got the new name up here for the, let's cross here. Yeah, they're supposed to turn this into the Sports Illustrated Hotel, and it used to be the Virgin. Yeah, look, they've already changed the branding. So Hubert tipped me off to this 2 months ago. See this? This used to be the Virgin Hotels. Now it's the Sports Illustrated Chicago. Main entrance. Okay. So it looks like it's the 203 North Sports Illustrated Resorts. Sports Illustrated Resorts. So right across from the Harold Washington Library, we got the Sports Illustrated Resorts. We saw union protest out here before the holidays. I think it had something to do with the construction labor they were using for, how you doing? The construction labor they were using for the Sports Illustrated Hotel renovations. But here, we'll head back. I got to go back to work, 12:56. So I'll get you to Michigan Avenue. Thanks everybody for tuning in on our little tour of the South Loop and the Loop of Chicago. We'll walk back up to Lincoln Park after 5. I got to go back to work for 4 hours. So we'll work until 5 p.m. Chicago time. Somebody lost their gloves. And we're on Lake Street. We're heading to Michigan. There's the Prudential building and the Aon Tower. And there's this housing, Garland Court, and Lake Street. Yeah, so if you want to, watch the rerun from the beginning, check out the live tab there. You can check out Printers Row and Buddy's Guys Legends and our nice tour down Wabash. Appreciate it. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll be back on after 5. Thanks to my mod team and everybody else. I really appreciate it. And we'll head up to Michigan Avenue, and we'll cross Michigan Avenue, show you the Tribune Tower and the Wrigley Building, and then we'll head back to work here. We got 12:57 p.m. 46 degrees. 46 degrees. I guess it feels a little cooler that the sun went away, but again, I'm not wearing gloves. And there's the view to the Wrigley. John Hancock, you can't see I lied, you can't see the Tribune, but we'll be able to see the Wrigley Building when we cross here. Michigan Avenue. There's the Carbide and Carbon there. Yeah, see you, Scott. See a dubious. Yeah, Trump's daddy's Bubba. Yeah. Hey, I like to order big number 1 there. Thanks for tuning in there. Yeah, dumb Trump. How you doing there? See, public sentiment's starting to change. I'm sensing, even in the comments and the trolls, less people troll me about Trump, because I think people are starting, even people that supported him are starting to lose because of his foray into foreign wars. What happened to America first? It's more like oil companies first, American oil companies first, over the U.S. citizens. Why is he helping out U.S. oil companies that are already so profitable and gas prices are low anyway? I don't understand it. So I know Maduro's a jerk. You know, I'm glad Maduro's being brought to justice, but they did not change the regime in Venezuela. We'll talk more about this after 5. Thanks for tuning in. They just want to use the leverage. They want to like blackmail them into whatever they want to do. So here's the Wrigley Building. We'll see you in a little bit. Thanks a lot, everybody. We'll talk to you later from Chicago. Thanks.